So one of the latest rumors coming out of England and Italy right now is the transfer talk of Mario Mandzukic possibly coming to Manchester United in January. The Red Devils were previously interested in Mandzukic in the summer, but he didn't want to come to England as he wanted to stay at Juventus and fight for his place. Well, fast forward to now, and Mandzukic has yet to play a competitive minute all season for Juventus. Maurizio Sarri came in from Chelsea as the new manager, brought Gonzalo Higuain back with him to Juventus, and he's favored the Argentinian over the Croatian all season long. So at this point, Mandzukic hasn't played all year, and now United is reigniting their interest in him. Frankly, this isn't the player that's going to come into United and change their fortunes. They're 12th in the table right now. He's not going to come in and just magically score goals like he once did 4 or 5 years ago when he first came to Juventus from Bayern Munich. They need bigger name players who are younger in their career. Right now, Mandzukic is almost 34 years old, and the fact that he's barely played all season should be a red flag alone. But we always know that a player coming from another team in Europe to England is always a big transition. So then you take into account that he hasn't played all year, and then you say, hey, he's going to come to England and he's going to come to United and be their primary number 9. It's unrealistic. I know the club is in complete disarray right now, and Ed Woodward and Solskjaer are looking to bring in as many players as possible in January to turn this club around and somehow make them a team that can fight into the top 5. But Mandzukic isn't the player that they need. If he's going to come to the club on a free transfer, the talk is that he has a verbal agreement to come to United, that Pogba is possibly going to be going to Juventus, and in return, United's going to get Mandzukic. So if that's the case, sure, bring him in, as long as you don't have to pay any money for him. Because worst case scenario, he comes in, he scores a goal every 3 or 4 games, but if nothing else, he comes in and he's a leader, right? He's a guy who's played in Europe for a long time. He can come in, he can mentor and be a leader to younger strikers like Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, and kind of give them some of his wealth of knowledge that he's had from playing so many years in Europe. So that alone could be a possibility for them. But he's not going to be a guy that's going to come in and score a lot of goals. So if he comes in a free transfer, in a swap deal, do it. But if you have to pay for him, do not bring in Mario Mandzukic. Personally, for him, I think the best thing is to go to the MLS. He's had interest from LAFC, David Beckham's new franchise in Miami, and also a Qatar side was trying to sign him, but he didn't want to go there. So Juventus has made it very clear they want to sell Mandzukic in January. But for Mandzukic, go to MLS. Look at Zlatan Ibrahimovic. They had a very similar European career, European resume. Both were big physical strikers, scored lots of goals back in their day. Ibrahimovic said, hey, I'm going to leave Europe, I'm going to go to the MLS. And he's became a star there. Mandzukic can do the exact same. Whether he goes to LAFC, he goes to Chicago Fire, it doesn't matter who it is. Or even if he went to the Galaxy and joined Ibrahimovic, he would be a star there once again. He doesn't need the stress of going to United and going to a club that's just having so many problems right now and having all these expectations on him when he's barely played all season already. So I just don't think it's worth it for him or the club. If he's going to come in and be kind of just a mentor and a leader and just like not have so much expectations from him, then sure, do it. But United, please don't pay money to bring in this guy. It's not worth it. If you're going to try and bring in some players to help your attack, Callum Wilson will be one of the number 1 choices from Bournemouth. He's having a fantastic campaign, 4 goals in 7 matches for Eddie Howe's side. But Howe has voiced himself that they don't want to give up Wilson. But if enough money is offered for him, Bournemouth probably will budge because they can use that money to buy more players. Moussa Dembele from Lyon is another player that United has on the top of their wish list for January. But again, he's going to cost a lot of money. And Lyon probably doesn't want to part ways with him, especially after losing Tanguy Ndombele to Tottenham in the offseason. And Moussa Dembele and Memphis Depay are forming a very good attacking duo up front for Lyon. So they probably won't want to give him up either. But if you can somehow bring in Wilson and Mandzukic, that could possibly work. Because if Mandzukic might not be a guy that can score on a consistent basis anymore, but he could still be a good playmaker. He's always had a very good idea of how to set guys up for goals, along with score them in his career. He's always had good assist numbers too, so if you can bring both those guys in, that's a possibility. But bringing in just Mandzukic is not going to be the answer. If you had to pick between Mandzukic and Wilson, Wilson would definitely be the choice. But if Pogba's leaving the club, bring Mandzukic back in return. Why not? It doesn't hurt. But I just think people are putting too much on Mario Mandzukic is going to come in and make this difference at Old Trafford and make them a top 10 Premier League team again. It's just not going to happen. So there's a lot of different players they could bring in January. Mandzukic should not be the number one choice. But if he comes in a free transfer, then sure, why not?